In today's episode, I'm interviewing Rob, the CEO and founder of Invisible PPC. He is just a phenomenal guy. He's been working on something called smart niches. And these are very important out there if you're looking for a white label provider to help you grow your ad side of your agency. So whether that be Google Ads and predominantly Google Ads and things along those lines. He has the ability to come in and has already got all the keywords to ads proven, already been done for hundreds, if not thousands of people in that niche. And at this point, I think he has around 60 smart niches. We'll discuss this and a lot more in this episode. Hope you enjoy. Rob, thank you so much for coming on my podcast today. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day. I gave a quick intro before we got live here. If you don't mind, give us a quick elevator pitch on who Rob is and who Invisible PPC is.
Lee, happy to thank you for having me. It's really, really good to be here. I've been looking forward to today. So who am I? So as you said, my name's Rob Warner. I'm a former accountant for my sins and then turned to the dark side and became a marketer about 8 or 9 years ago. And built by accident Invisible PPC, which is a white label Google Ads agency initially. White label because I hated selling it, scared me to death. And white label meant people gave me clients. So we've since built that to white labeling for Google Ads, for agencies all over the world. I mean, to put it in context, any time today, we have a team of about 30 people. We have about $2.5 million under management at any one time per month, mainly focusing on local service businesses, but we work from our clients are agencies. Our clients are agencies who need help, don't want to do the work themselves, and want a really good, really experienced, safe pair of hands to do it for them.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. A lot of people, and we've got some questions prepared, but like I said, Rob and I have been referral partners for a little over a year now. We met at DAX last year. So I'm worried about, do I keep it professional enough? You know what I'm saying? We're going to start talking about all kinds of stuff. So point being is that one of the things I loved about Invisible PPC was the smart niches, about how you've got these industries really dialed in and a product line for these agencies. Before we get off into the questions here, just elaborate. I thought that was the coolest thing. I've referred you some business and they love it too. So let's talk about those smart niches and explain what that means.
Yeah, so we've been working on our smart portfolio of products for about 12 months, and it really started now, and it started from a really simple idea, which is that the value in an agency starting every account as if it's the first time they've started an account in a niche is really, really dumb. And because of our scale and because of our experience, we know what a good account in a niche looks like. And so what we said was, okay, let's take all those markets where we know with a, say, 90% plus degree of certainty that if we build a campaign a certain way, with the right kind of landing pages in place, with the right kind of offer in place, we know it's going to work. And so we built that and we called it Smart Niche. And we ended up with about 80 total niches in it so far.
Wow. As a matter of fact, pre-COVID, you had like 32 or 34 or something. Is that right?
Yeah, it's been a big number for a while.
Man.
We kind of break it down a little bit. So for dental, for example, we've got kind of 4 or 5 in dental, 3 or 4 in physical. So we break them down a bit, but details about 80 in there. And what that means is if someone comes to us and says, hey, do you think you can run this campaign for a dentist? Is it going to work? We'll go, well, the other 150 are doing okay, so we'll probably be fine. And it gives you as an agency such confidence to sell because you know that we're not seeing it for the first time. We're not making it up. We're not learning on the job. It's dialed in. We know it's going to work.
You hit the nail on the head. It dumbfounds me about how in the bespoke or the custom type agency, they really do kind of hang their hat on the identity of I always wondered why they want to go back to zero every single time. So what in the cycle, what makes you want to go do that, right? I mean, you can't help but see it. Every time you start a project, if you do an attorney, you go to do a CPA, keywords are everything's completely different. The way you frame everything is completely different. So you go back to zero, back to the starting line every time. Now, if you're smart, then you'll do, it's kind of like a long run relay kind of thing. You hand the baton to the next and you keep just going and going and going, right? And that's what happens in niches. And I never have understood why they keep going back to zero. And if you keep,
Lee, I'm with you completely. I'm with you. I think there's 2 sides to it. One is if you are outbound prospecting and you are just blasting, that's craziness. if you're prospecting, pick a target prospect, pick a niche, pick a type of business even within the niche.
Become the best of the best, man. Dude.
One message, one route to market. It's so simple. When you come to fulfillment, you know what it is.
Dude, and you got the keywords in a zip file. I mean, everything is like, if you've done it for one attorney, 75 to 80% of that's identical for the next person. Keywords, negative keywords, responsive ads, text, all of the stuff that you can just literally import, and that knocks it down from a 25-hour setup time to a 7-hour setup time, right? And delivering more value, delivering a lot more value, because you're not guessing. You have done this 100 times and you know what works.
I mean, that's how I describe smart niche. When someone says to me, what is smart niche and what's the advantage, I go, well, imagine you run the Olympics and you run the 100 meters. Now imagine you're on the 60-meter lane to start when everybody else starts at the beginning of the race.
Right, exactly.
We're 2/3 of the way down the track already because we know what works and what doesn't. All we have to do is execute and check and make sure it's behaving. And that's a huge difference.
And then you get to the point whenever you've done it 100 times, you can actually start to guarantee results. Right? And you can show them a case study. We've done this for 100 people. 90% of them saw this ROI, right? And hypothetical rare, of course, and show them that case study. So we're going to give you a money back guarantee on this thing, and you can afford to do that when you know that 90% of the time it works, and the other 10% you can afford to do
always the outlier. There's always the one where either you're in, so let's use dental as an example. It's always my go-to. So we have some cities and some states even where they've got a group of dentists. So there's quite a bit of activity in the dental industry right now with private equity groups buying up hundreds of practices into a single entity.
Yes.
And they buy market share. So if you happen to go into a market where you've got one of those guys distorting the market, then okay, we need to deal with that, but you're still way better prepared than if you didn't have that experience. We now know what we're dealing with, and we can do it, and we can work around those things. And 9 times out of 10, though, you're going to be in good shape, and you're going to be delivering ahead of expectations. And that's a key thing. For anything we do in digital, one of the things that I'm always passionate about is we deliver an intangible. Whether it's an SEO, whether it's PPC, whether it's a website's probably about as tangible as it ever gets. Mm-hmm. So more often than not, your customers never see what you do. They never see the work that you put in, or nothing arrives in a box. They've got to rely that what you say you're doing and what you're doing are actually happening. So you have to try and think about, how do we create these tangible touch points where, a phone call, an ad being shown, all those things that actually make a tangible difference. Otherwise, it's really hard for clients to see value in what you do sometimes, unless you can make it real for them.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, and because in my I coach all the time on project management and service frameworks and things like that, right? And I always tell people that in the digital world, we made it too easy on our clients. They actually do believe that we just click a mouse and click the mouse and go watch Netflix or something. I don't know what the hell. I think that's what they believe. I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure they think it's too easy is what it ultimately boils down to, and that's our fault as an industry. That's kind of our fault. We made it too easy on them, and so I actually coach my students to interject pain into the service process strategically, right? And so if you don't put a little bit of pain in the and if you've ever raised kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't put a little bit of pain, take the iPad away or whatever that pain factor is for your child. If you don't interject that, occasionally you're going to have a snowflake and a horrible teenager. You're going to have a horrible experience when you get a little older, right? So
it's so true. So they came up with a design for a process for an onboard and a landing page build about 6 months ago. And I went, hey guys, if we change this and did this, this, and this, and structure it a certain way, we could do an onboard in a day. Wouldn't that be a good thing? And the rest of my team turned around and went, no, you're an idiot. And you're an idiot because if we do it, yes, technically we could, but people wouldn't value it. They wouldn't appreciate it. Yep. And if it wasn't done in the day, they'd suddenly think it was a bad thing, whereas 2 days a bit wonderful most of the time. And you're right. introducing that little bit of pain and responsibility and accountability.
On their side, you've got to push back a little bit. You have to get them to sign a scope document, get them to sign a change order document, and they have to sign it. Okay, they either be DocuSign or actually, I coach my students, get them to print it out. Them having to print it out, sign it, and get it back to you, take a photo of it, get it back to you. That is the pain. Of course, the legal aspect, but that actually is the pain. It makes them think about it. Damn it! Before I go through all this headache, I better actually go read that copy that you sent over. You know what I'm saying? I better actually go look at those images, because when I do all of this effort and sign all of this, there's no going back. And they know that, right? So they know that once they sign that document or print it out and get it back over to us, that at that point, anything that they change their mind on, they're going to get charged for. Rightfully so, right? You got to make a good, punctual, and ethical decision. So,
a wonderful experience. And I use the word wonderful liberally here. With a client recently.
We got a little bit too much liberalism going on around here, if you don't mind. So let's pull back.
That's for you guys to worry about.
I'm leaving that out. I'm just kidding. And leave that out of here. So.
And we did some ads for them and built a landing page, and we got lots of images. And they said, "We hate that image. You should never have used that image. That's the wrong type of sensor to ours. That's one of our competitors." I went, "Dude, that's from your website. We didn't get it was your image that you gave to us." Like,
wow.
Oh, it's like, yeah,
my bad.
Yeah, exactly. People have to sometimes understand that they've got to take responsibility and change processes. They're important, because otherwise we get yelled at.
Well, again, a lot of, and I have to admit, I fell victim to this. I felt like, golly, man, these people just not care. They not care about me. I have to admit, I kind of took it a little personally there at first. You know what I mean? I really did, because one thing I know about our industry is it is saturated with people who give a damn. I mean, they care. I mean, if anything, we care too much as an industry. We are servers, okay? We want to go out and serve people, and we take a lot of pride in that. And I love that about our industry. But there's a double edge to that, right? So meaning that due to the fact you care so much, you almost let people kind of run over you a little bit, and abuse. Some people, not always. Some people, they abuse that, right? And meaning that you just, all you gotta do is just learn to say no, push back a little bit, be respectful. I'm not saying be a jerk, but just be firm and be respectful. Get them change orders, phase sign-offs. I'm telling you, it makes all the difference in the world. Get a little bit of pain in there, it makes all the difference in the world.
Well, every time you say yes, because we've all get those emails, those phone calls. Can you just change this for me? It won't take you long. But okay, fine. We've got to process it. We've got to do it. We've got to quality control it. We've got to make sure it's done right.
Mm-hmm. Is it within scope? Is it not? I mean, all these different things. And if you do that one little thing, no, it's never 5 minutes.
They always devalue it, and they don't appreciate it when you do. And all you're doing is setting up yourself up for the next one.
Yep. It's funny. Same exact thing in my service framework I have what's called the Pavlov document, and it's how you train train your clients, right? And so when they first come on board, 99% of the time, they will have one little spur in their saddle, meaning that image. I hate that image. Get that image down. That's a picture of my ex-husband. Get that damn image off my website. Will you please fix this menu item? It's been driving me nuts for 6 months, or Google Analytics isn't working. There's always something simple that they kind of want done, right? And whenever they do that request, and again, it's pretty close to all the damn time, I actually train my students to hit them with what's called a change order, and say, and in that document, it sounds a little harsh at first, but in that document, that very first time, you're like, hey, this falls outside of scope. We're going to do this because we love you, but it maps everything out. It delayed the project by 20 minutes, and it's all menial. It means nothing except for the bottom part where it says, by signing here, and it says that we're going to do this for free. It tells them we're going to do it for free, but they had to sign it, and they read it, and they see, oh, shit. Damn, y'all got to process, okay? So from that moment forward, no joke, and you did it for free. All you got to do is just ask them to get this. All you got to do is sign and get it back to you. It doesn't cost you a dime. But in the process of doing that, they're like, okay, I might need to think about before I just start barking at this company. They have a process in place. They are very much paying attention, very close attention to all of the details. And now all of a sudden they respect you so much more. And questions come across like this. Before you do that document, it's like, hey, go do this. Hey, go do this. Hey, go do this. Now, when you do that document, it's like, hey, is this in scope? Do y'all mind? Was this okay if y'all do this? Is it okay? Totally different. I mean, it changes the whole paradigm of the relationship
simply by zapping them a little bit with that Pavlov document. So.
Well, so when it comes to agency relationships, you're dealing in one of two scenarios. Either you're dealing with a client who's never had an agency before, in which case, if you don't tell them what your process is and train them how to work with you, then all they have is radio silence.
Yep.
And when they have radio silence, they make up their own version of what they think is supposed to happen because they've got no
that's
other
exactly what
experience.
happens. That's exactly what happens, yeah.
And you will get fired because you haven't communicated something that they imagine something different in their head just because you haven't told them what your process was. And when they then clash,
I couldn't agree. Amen. Okay, so as a matter of fact, to that point, we are entrepreneurs, okay, and if you haven't noticed that if an entrepreneur hires someone and they lose trust in that person, that entrepreneur is going to step up and take charge because entrepreneurs are leaders. We don't sit idly by waiting for someone to just spend our money or waste our time, okay? We are going to see, crap, man, I hired this company 30 days ago. I haven't heard a damn thing. I haven't seen a document. I don't know anything. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to go to Google. Hey, what is this? I'm going to type it in. I'm going to call my buddies. Hey, man, do you ever got an SEO done? Okay, well, how does it work? Did it work? Did you just not ever hear from them for 30 days? Or do they call you? Or how does it work? And that's what they're doing. They're calling around asking their buddies. They're Googling it. So what they're doing is, in the absence of leadership, whenever you do not convey leadership and you do not provide that leadership, if you think that you're just passively going to get through this, I still don't understand that mentality. I don't even understand how you think you can passively hide behind a digital wall and build a legitimate business. To me, that just blows my mind, right? I mean, you can't do that. In the absence of leadership, I promise you, your clients, your kids, your wife, your brother, me, everybody will step up and take charge because they are not going to blindly sit back and let somebody drive their car off a cliff, okay? That's not how life works in all aspects of life, but specifically in business, in the absence of leadership, they will step up and provide that leadership. So you only have one choice. Are you going to lead it or are you going to let your client lead it? That's really it. So.
Yep. And at the end of the day, remember who's been the expert who's been hired here? That would
Thank
be
you. Act like it. You know what I mean? Seriously.
Step into the role, do your job, future pace expectations, future pace communications. Always leave the client with what's coming next so they know what to expect, they know when. And if there's going to be a period where it's radio silent, tell them it's going to happen. Look, we're going to go dark for a week on you because we need to do these creatives.
Yeah.
We'll take 4 or 5 iterations internally. Then we have to get them signed off. So you won't hear anything from us for a week. But that's okay. That's supposed to happen. That's normal. In a week's time, then we will do this. And if you don't tell them that, they're going to go, crap, it's been a week. Not heard anything. What's going wrong? So future pace, everything. Always signpost the next step.
And by the way, with Invisible PPC, you get this level of leadership from Rob's staff. And so they're going to help, in other words, if you're an agency out there looking to hire kind of a white label guy, as you can see, obviously you can see Rob is taking this stuff very seriously, just simply by the level of conversation he and I are having right here. So.
We give them a launch timeline.
Yeah.
And we give them what we call the 6-month sleep well guide, which says this is what's going to happen to your client during the first 6 months of its lifetime, and this is what you should expect. And also, here's all the really dumb questions they're going to ask you. And here's the answers of when they do. Because by the way, when it's done to them, they're really important questions. So you better know the answers, and we're going to give them to you. And take those 2 things. Don't hide from your clients, and you'll be shipshape. There's no problem. But use
no doubt.
That's why we provide them for free, because we want agencies. Here's the kicker of it, and this frustrates the heck out of me. 9 out of 10 client accounts that cancel with us do not cancel because of account performance.
Communications and expectations.
9 out of 10 are not due to account performance. It's like, man, that sucks.
Communication, clearly communicate, and properly set expectation levels, and 8 out of those 9 that are canceling, okay, would stay on board. And that's not that's what the agencies that hire you should got to do. And I love how you give them helpful tips and guides and kind of that sleep well guide. And I'm sure knowing you probably got some tutorial videos and things like that to help as well. So we haven't even got to the damn first question. Again, I always tell everybody, we do actually plan this stuff out and a little. I have a little intake form, and so we get the questions in advance. We haven't even got to the damn first question, so let's go ahead and get to that first question. All right, Rob.
I'm the podcast host who hasn't signposted the first question yet.
What's that? In the absence of leadership, somebody will step up and take it, huh? So, case in point. Okay, but hey, that was a great one. All right, first question. Ready? What industries are seeing success in Google Ads today? Let me frame this question. We are still in the middle of COVID. I'm kind of calling a little bit post-COVID because we're all kind of coming out of this stupor kind of thing, and so this question was exciting to me because I'm hoping that you're going to convey this in the context of the world we're in, and that is everybody's kind of waking up that, okay, COVID was bad when it was unknown. Now we know a lot more about it. It's not as bad as we thought. It's still really bad. I'm not attempting to sugarcoat it. We know to protect our elders. We know, there's certain things we know now. It's not as scary because of the learns, right? And so I'm interested in hearing what industries are seeing success in Google Ads today as we all come out of this thing. So
here's the thing, Lee. Obviously, start of this year, when the world went kind of crazy.
Went nuts, but yeah.
Don't. If you were to tell yourself last year what was going to happen this year, you'd think you'd gone insane and you were making it up.
Yeah, that's the dead truth. You mean a white jacket? You know what I mean? Looking at some padded walls.
Exactly that. So, first quarter, going into second quarter this year, what we saw was any of the kind of hands-on professions just close for business. So, dentists, doctors, massage therapists, spas, chiropractors, they were toast. Anything with physical proximity, obviously leisure industry, completely wiped out. During that time, though, there were certain businesses that continued to flourish. And the ones that we saw flourishing were people like generally anybody who had an emergency element to their service. So an emergency plumber, an emergency locksmith, all the emergency stuff carried on going really well. We also saw carrying on home services, home improvements. People spent a lot of time in lockdown improving their house.
Yes, they did.
So anything that you could service, anything you could service safely at a distance while doing something. So even like remodeling jobs were being done, and we saw those taking off really strongly, and the specialist e-commerce stores that supported them. So, in the certain e-com crashed, but other e-com, things like music lessons. One of my friends runs a guitar supplies store. They had to close their online store because they were so backlogged with orders they couldn't cope with demand.
Cool. That's a great problem to have. Yeah.
When we reached in our two-person business 800 orders on backlog, we knew we had a problem. So then, as it's progressed, we've gradually seen the shift back to more normalcy, so more markets coming back on. So all those touchy-feely things, the dentists, the physios, they're back. As with everybody else, markets that we've seen upticks in, places like legal. One of my saddest things out of all this is bankruptcy, foreclosure, and I know there's been a moratorium on it now, but it isn't lasting forever, and it isn't worldwide. Divorce attorneys, financial planners, and personal injury lawyers are doing fabulous. All the plumbers people are coming back. People want sanitized plumbing, home services. They want air filters, filtration systems, disinfectant systems.
Yep.
So all of those kind of things are coming back really, really strongly. So the second half of the year, we're seeing those that left are back, and those that bounced are going even higher. So we're seeing bigger demand on Google than we've ever seen before. And with that, not only are we seeing markets bounce back, we've seen new buyers in the market. Two groups of buyers that come into the market.
It's interesting. I wrote an article on this. I'm interested to get your take on this. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
We've seen the burned people come back. Those guys who say online marketing doesn't work. I hired an agency once and they screwed me. We ran for 6 weeks and I got nothing. They're back. And the people who have that badge that they wear here, and they wear it with big pride that says, I don't advertise, I get my customers by referral.
Oh yeah.
they're in the market.
Yeah. So
We have this kind of new enlarged market of, in some cases, challenging individuals because they're nervous,
very,
uneducated, and they're, in some cases, positively skeptical about what you're about to do from them. But they
yep.
know that they need.
They don't have a choice in it. They don't have any choice anymore. So this is, oh my gosh, you just hit the nail on the head. I wrote an article and actually got put in Forbes magazine. I don't know if I sent you that link. I need to send that over to you. But it is exactly what your data is showing you is that up until COVID, there were a lot of, and there's actually a business analogy, frame the bell curve, right across the chasm bell curve. You got what's called pragmatic and conservative, and those two are the toughest ones to kind of break into, and those two are the ones that also probably, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years ago went out and got a website done and hired somebody to do SEO or whatever. They got burned, hypothetical, right? And so a lot of those guys just pulled the ostrich syndrome. They stuck their head in the sand and said, I can do this referrals. I can do this friends, family referral conferences. Like you said, that badge of honor. I don't need to do anything digital because I'm that good or I'm scared, whatever the scenario is. They just chose to ignore digital with intent. Okay, now that's, what's that?
Entirely intentionally.
Completely. And they were just going to let the next generation handle it, right? Well, boy, did they ever get their asses handed to them in the past 6 months. And so they will not allow that mistake to happen again. There's not a CEO worth its salt on the planet right here, right now, that is not aggressively looking at their digital demand. And so what you just said is exactly what my research what I uncovered in that. I mean, I'm coaching a lot of agencies, and so I get to hear the rubber hits the road. But I interviewed Clayton Mass, the founder of Infusionsoft, about $250 million company now, and he saw the exact same thing. March, literally, everything's trucking along good till March 15th, and then boom, off a cliff, right? And then April, flatlined. The last part of March and April, pretty much flatlined for every damn body, right? Then come around the first part of May, starts picking back up, and he's like, but we're all still shut down. We're all still, at least over here, stay in place orders. Why all of a sudden it's starting to pick back? He didn't have sales staff. He had nobody in the damn offices to answer the phones. So when sales was picking back up, he's like, what the hell am I going to do, right? And so it started picking back up in May, and in June, record month in the history of 13, 14, wait, 15. How long have they been around? They've been around.
They've been around a while.
They've been around for a while, 15, 16 years in the history of this $250 million company, biggest sales month ever in the middle of a global pandemic. And they are a cloud-based CRM for anybody out there who doesn't know who they are. And obviously the first thing that you're going to buy if you have been ignoring digital is a cloud-based CRM to manage all the data and everything else, right? And so get ready for it. I've been telling all of my students, raise your prices 20, 30, 40%, depending upon your demand. It's coming. Better reload. And exactly what your data just got through saying is exactly what my data says.
What we've seen out of it as well, one of the things that we've really, really seen is, and it kind of reinforces where it circles back to where we started this conversation talking about smart niche. People expect, these are nervous buyers. They are looking for trust markers, trust indicators. So case studies, proof, evidence, testimonials,
Yep.
all those things that, we built as part of smart niche. They're super valuable because
Big time, yeah.
If you're a nervous buyer looking for your first hire, 10 years ago, there was no such thing as a specialist plumbing digital marketing agency or a florist digital marketing agency. Now there is. And whether you are or not, you at least need to be able to present the credibility case to demonstrate you've got some skills or access to some skills in a market. Because these nervous buyers are looking for that reason to engage, and they're looking for packages presented in ways that are new.
Exactly. They're looking for value. Okay. These people are extremely value conscious. Okay. And so again, pragmatic, conservative, they got those names because, well, they're conservative and they're going to dot the I's and cross the T's. That's also why they're the lion's share, the big bell in the bell curve, right? That's where the red meat is. And in the cloud space, in the digital space, we've been waiting for that. It's obviously been hitting, but not to the degree we all thought it was going to hit, right? Because I think a lot of those guys and girls in that bell curve kind of got burned. But now, again, they don't have the option. So,
yeah, I think we're in the biggest opportunity in for digital agencies in the history of digital agencies.
Beyond, and as a matter of fact, it's funny you say that. The name of the article was how COVID kicked off the third digital gold rush, and it's by far the biggest opportunity our industry has ever seen. Because the first two gold rush were basically like, what the hell is all this? You know, okay, the internet, the web, Al Gore, crap. Well, okay, I need a digital business card, right? And so that was kind of boom, the first one, right? And then social media, 2008 with Facebook and everything else. That was kind of the second one. This one is actually to where it's not trying to figure things out anymore. It's playing catch up and getting digital infrastructure in place. And guess what agencies do, right? So this is a huge opportunity. I mean, life-changing opportunity for business owners out there in the digital space. And so I really hope you've taken the last 6 months to, I've been coaching all of my students, you better reload, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And we have, my students have completely reloaded. I mean, like brand up, product lines, niched out, you name it, they are ready and chomping at the bits to get out to market. And I hope a lot of other agencies out there are doing the same thing. I learned this lesson the hard way in 2008. I don't know, you started this after 2008, but
I started because my business got destroyed in 2008.
Oh, okay. Case in point, mine was dead on the vine. Okay, are you kidding me? It was dead on the vine because I made some fundamental rookie business owner mistakes. Right? I mean, I didn't have diversified lead sources. I can give you a litany of things that I screwed up. Okay, no doubt about it. But when stuff like that happens, man, I tell you what, you know, change begins at the end of your comfort zone, and I was very uncomfortable. Okay, at the end of 2008, early 2009, and I went out there. That's when I established my partnership with Infusionsoft. That's when I established my partner, all in a matter of 90 days with Infusionsoft, Guerrilla Marketing International, you know, and I'd have to go back and look, but other major brands that were looking for a credible, reputable agency, and at that time, I fit the mold, and still do. Well, I'm not an agent anymore, but yeah, at that time, it continued. And so, you know, I wound up getting some promotions from Guerrilla Marketing International with a 120,000 strong email list, and same thing from Infusionsoft, which, gosh, I don't know, 500,000. Like, who knows how big their list is, right? But and that literally became my new lead sources while I focused on organic SEO and doing other things, and that got me through that hump. And 2009 was the only year we didn't have at least 15 to 20% growth without going into any debt, but we stayed alive. And I was so proud of that year. And then, you know, but I reloaded that whole time. I mean, I gutted my service infrastructure. I got a lot of debt weight.
Always, you can't grow a business if it's dead.
Exactly, right. So
stay in the game, do what you have to do to survive, and stay in the game. And that doesn't just go for today and currencies. I mean, one of the things we do, and it's just as an aside, we have a risk register in our business. We list probably once every quarter, just scan down the list. What are all the things that could kill us or hurt us really badly? And it's kind of like an almost internal contest that we take that list and we try and just check a few things off each time. Yep. You know, have we got the right insurances in place? Have we got key man insurance in place? Have we got health cover?
Yep.
What about, you know, all these things that could be a catastrophic event if you haven't thought about them? And it actually
PR, like tax liability, PR, legal, employee morale, and I had a term called silver bullets. We can't allow a silver bullet, because a silver bullet, obviously, one shot, one kill. So if you go out there and try to rip off the government, if you don't pay your taxes, if you are not delivering value and you get bad reviews, a bad write-up in Entrepreneur Magazine, you know, bad PR, somebody legally starts, if you have more, you know, once you build a business of any size, you will have people coming after you legally. There's just no way around that. Understand that will happen. But you should aggressively mitigate that stuff. It should be very minimal. I mean, I'm like one every 2 or 3 years kind of thing. Very, very, you know, minimal, right? But again, you've got to aggressively mitigate. Diversification of lead sources was one. There's a bunch of things like that you just got to pay close attention to.
Even if it means as something as simple as make sure you've got the master password so you can lock a VA out if they go rogue on you.
Pretty much.
That might be the simple starting point you've got. And if that's what can kill you today, then take care of that today.
No doubt about it. So, all right, we got a couple other questions here. What's the number one challenge faced by agencies today for Google Ads? Like, what's the biggest hurdle people are facing out there in the Google Ad world? So
here's the thing right now with Google Ads. Demand is never higher in many markets.
Yeah.
So tons and tons of opportunity. Prices are actually slightly lower than they normally have been in Google.
I was about to ask you about that. With demand, usually price goes up. So, but in this case,
prices are a little bit lower. Google, though, currently is the biggest challenge. They're removing some of the data from the, well, they have, sorry, they're not removing, they have removed some of the data from the interface. So agencies have a harder time doing their job now. So suddenly your ability to manage your client spend has just got about a third more difficult. So what they've done is...
How? Well, elaborate on that.
Sorry?
Well, yeah, search queries have always been, they've been pretty much gone for years now, but they're
well, you've got them now in Google Ads, but they're taking away about a third of them. So from an agency's point of view, there is now a bigger black hole that is much more difficult to manage than it ever has been before. So
hence why smart niches are so important, by the way. Yeah. Hence another reason why smart niches and having a niche is so important. Google's not making it any easier. So yeah.
It goes beyond that. So we didn't know this was coming. We didn't know this change was coming until about 10 days before it happened. We spent the year building out a data model where we can analyze this stuff at scale. And let me give you an example. In the dental industry, we analyzed 1.1 million of spend across 200 accounts. That was 300,000 clicks. And those 313,000 clicks to be exact, which represented 103,000 unique search terms. So think about that.
Wow.
On average, each search term got searched 3 times over the course of the year.
Like long tail.
Skewed. Yeah. But here's the thing, 103,000 search terms, of those, the number of search terms that actually generated an inquiry, 9,000.
Wow, dude, that's like 9.
Yeah, it's about 91%.
90, I was trying to do the math in my head. I was going to say 90 something, 92 or 3%, but dude, see, that shit pissed me off, dude. In Google Analytics, I mean, golly, and everybody, I'm really dating myself here as an OG here, but I think it's about 10 or 12 years ago, they started slowly pulling down the search queries, right? This is what people typed in to find your site. And now it's pretty much non-existent. It's untitled or something, right? And it pisses me off because obviously that was your long tail queue. That's what you wrote your blogs around. It gave the small business owner not a competitive advantage, but if you were writing content, if you were writing content, you saw how your stuff was being indexed, and you could actually go, okay, great. There's something about the combination of this word and that word. Let me write a blog article that has those 2 in it. And so it gave the small business owner a lot of power. And obviously, from the agency's perspective, we could leverage that as well. That pisses me off. They pulled all that way. So now they're doing this. They're doing the same thing in the PPC model. Huh?
We spent a year building data models to work around it, so we can look across the market and go, okay, what works and what doesn't. So we can strip away a bunch of that waste. But in the midst of us building out, we've got a PhD maths guy on staff working through the math model to help us build through these hundreds and hundreds of thousands of data rows, because you try and process it mentally. It's there. So we've been building this, and in the middle of all this, Google announced they were chopping the data away. It's like, holy heck, that's going to get really tough for some people. So there's a big market shift coming up. But the good thing is, business owners don't know what to do. So if you're an agency, much as it's a massive challenge, it's also an opportunity to go out there and talk to business owners who don't know what to do about it and who you can help.
No doubt about it, man. So, okay, so what should an agency be doing today to protect the growth tomorrow?
For me, agencies today are all about, if we think about the last quarter of this year going into the first quarter of next year, we're about to go into crazy season.
Yes, we are.
The run up to the holidays, in the US, you've got elections to contend with as well. It's going to be a highly, highly busy time. And it's a time to add value. It's a time to deliver value in advance, to start signing people up, even if they're not ready now, get them on the books, get value in advance, and get them ready to go, get them thinking about. Some people have mentally written off 2020.
Yeah,
but they
so true, yep.
But they're going to come back in 2021 because they have to. So if you inject yourself as their trusted advisor now by delivering value, offering easy services that are easy to buy. One of the things I would urge everybody to do today is sell services that are easy yeses, that are low risk, and that you can deliver like that have an impact. So anything you can do, even micro retains, even $100 retains, I'm seeing people on at the minute for silly little social posting things, but they're things that in today's climate are adding value. They build a relationship, and all the while you sow the seeds for the coming next 12 months. The worst thing you can do today is be passive. You've got to be aggressive, and you've got to be.
I'm sorry, I couldn't agree more with that. Amen on that. So yes.
But it's about, when I say aggressive, it's aggressive with the right tone of voice. Understand people.
Not hostile, yeah. Not in your face aggressive. Just I want to earn your. Almost in like it's kind of a humble aggressive. Hey, I want to earn your business, and I will be aggressive to earn your business. But you're the boss.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of that mentality always that works really well. So.
Understand they've been hurt this year. Cash is tight for some. They're nervous. They're worried. They don't know what the future is going to hold. Who knows what COVID does over the winter? What the election brings? Who knows the way it's going to go? So there's a certain degree of anxiety. If you can be a calm, supportive, strategic partner during that time, you're going to win big going into 2021.
Big time. And I tell you what, man, you hit a point a while ago about how just making sure that you kind of, basically what you're saying is remain top of mind. If you can get a small item purchase in there, if you can get $100 a month retainer or even $100 product purchase or whatever, that's outstanding. That gets you way up, right? But the main thing is that in my agency sales system, I'm always talking about you got to harvest the 92%. That's the people who are kicking tires right now, the people who aren't quite ready. They're going to be making a decision in 6 months. For everybody out there that's been listening to me and saying, get this system in place, you're about to reap the rewards, because that's what happens. You're going to be content marketing, getting out there. You're harvesting that data. They're watching. Nobody makes quick decisions very rarely anymore because bullshit meters are through the roof. So they're just kind of watching. They're kind of paying attention to Rob's emails. And over this time, matter of fact, I had a client last week, Joe from Big West Marketing out in Montana, sent me an email. I'm sorry, it was a couple weeks ago. He signed up last week, but I think he sent me an email like 3 weeks ago. He was traveling with his family, and hey, man, I've been a part of your 92% for like 2 years, and I love your stuff, and I want to sign up with you as soon as I get back from this RV. He went on an RV trip, and as soon as I get back, when I get an RV trip, I'm going to become in that now front 4% because it's 92.44, right? Anyway, in that front 4% means they're going to buy in the next 30 days, right? And he's like, I'm in that front 4%. He literally told me, hey, I'm going to give you a bunch of money next week, okay? And I was like, great, and I posted that in my group. That is how it works right there. And so I love it. I absolutely love it. So get out there, get aggressive in a I don't know what you humble, aggressive kind of way.
Right message. It's just be understanding of where people are. Here's one thing we did, which is a really interesting thing. Super simple. Anybody who takes payment through PayPal, which it's not my favorite payment processor. They're a bit sucky. They're expensive, but PayPal credit is available on most purchases over $99. You can go in, sell a digital marketing package today, sell them a 3-month run up to Christmas and the new year, take payment today for that 3 months. They will get 4 to 6 months interest-free credit on that. You get paid immediately. For a business owner who's cash conscious today, it's a really nice way of saying, look, we know cash is tight. Don't worry about it. Let's get this done now. Start delivering you some results. Start doing the groundwork for 2021. Get it done today, because come the new year, then we're ready to rock. And you can do that with zero impact on that business cash flow in this calendar year. And so that, to me, it's like one of those things that the first time we used it, people were kind of going, yeah, I'll take that. And we would never have got those sales without that option.
PayPal credit, huh? I like that idea.
Yeah, it never occurred to me until this year, when it was like, oh man, that's just so timely right now.
It is. Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
And it's super simple.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man, I got to wrap it up here. I got a few more minutes before I get into my next call. This is what I call the shameless plug moment. So fire away, especially with those glasses. You get extra double time on shameless plugs. So fire away.
This is so I can try and get some sleep on tonight.
Okay, that's the blue blocker. Yeah. I gotta get me a pair of those. Man, it makes a big difference. It really does. So
it's helping me sleeping 5 hours a night.
Yeah,
I'm struggling, and then I got these, and I'm up to about 7. It's much better.
That's a big difference, man. All right, shameless plug. Throw it out there.
functioning human person now. So Lee, you said at the start, we're Invisible PPC, we do white label PPC. But most importantly, there are lots of companies out there who can turn handles. That's not what we do. If you want smart data, proven landing pages, dialed in systems, and scale, for one of our clients, we took on 28 clients in a weekend for them. Most people can't do that.
Yeah, they can't do that. Yeah, that's impressive.
So if you want the sales materials, sales support, and working with Lee, then that's what we do for you. That's what we exist for, is to make you look good.
Yeah, and they do a great job. Yeah, they do a great.
We know every time someone gives us a client, they put their trust and their reputation in our hands, and we take that really seriously.
Yeah, I've said to people you're going to be hearing a lot more about Rob. Just a little bit. And Rob, I'm not even sure if I told you this, but Dax was kind of the initial kickoff of me establishing referral partners, right? I think I told you that. And I had established some previously, but that was our first kind of kickoff. We didn't really go there to get sales. We got some sales, and nobody's going to bitch about sales. But I went there to meet guys like you and other people, right? And it worked out great. And I'm pretty sure I told you, but I'll go out there and, kiss like 12 frogs. I'll get like 3 princes, right? You're one of the princes. So, what's that?
The haircut.
Oh, totally. Hey, bald is badass, right? So, and so we're going to be hearing a lot more about Rob, because I personally vetted him now for about over a year. I've been watching him behind the scenes. I've been stalking you, dude. And I've sent you a few people, and I've heard about how people are working with you and things.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
And so I'm super excited about, you're on the partners page now. We're going to be doing two or three of these a year to bring it out there, because again, it's hard. One of the hardest things for agencies out there is to find really reliable white label providers that aren't, price gouging on them, or just, not delivering any value, hurting their brand. There's just so much of that going on out there right now. It seems like everybody wants to be a white label provider right now, but you are really doing it the right way. You've built the infrastructure and have been building the infrastructure for a while now, to where they can log in, they can see all their data. It's, like I said, smart niches. It's just a dominant service, and I really appreciate you putting it together, because I know how much work has gone into that. So,
absolute pleasure, Lee. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it, sir.
No problem, sir. All right. Any final words before we go?
Yeah, get out there and get some new business. Don't be passive.
Amen. Do not wait. Okay, I'm telling you, the market is about to blow up. Listen to Rob. Rob knows what he's talking about. It already is. All right. Thanks, Rob. Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And of course, let's get you over to the next episode. If you have not already, make sure to subscribe to my podcast. And if you are not following us on YouTube or in our private Facebook group, make sure to get over there and check those out as well. And of course, we're also always available at marketingagencycoach.com. Look forward to seeing you in all those channels, and I hope you're having a wonderful day.